Hello guys, Scripting Helps here from Roblox. Today I'm going to be teaching you a little about scripting and how to get your studio set up. So let's begin by going up here in the menu area and click View. And you want to make sure you have Explore, Properties, and Output all visible at the same time. Okay, as you can see, Output and Properties on my area is like over each other. So you can actually move that around, customize it how you like. So I'm just going to keep mine like this. There we go. And now go to model and make sure you have advanced objects visible because you're going to need that soon. Those are instances that you can insert such as parts, fire, and things like that. So let's begin by clicking workspace, and then what you want to do is scroll down in advanced objects and find where it says script. This is alphabetical order, so it should be easy to find. Okay, so when you open up the script, you want to delete print to hello world. And now, so first off, I'm going to teach you about what print actually is. So print is how a user actually test their game or find out if something is working properly. So you can also use it as a calculator. So what I'm going to do is teach you how to use it. So first what you want to do is type print, lowercase, no capital letters whatsoever. And then you want to put parentheses. There is different ways you could do this, so I'm going to teach you this way. So put parentheses, and then you can use quotes like this, or you can use these. But anyways, you put either one of those. Those are called a string when you see something in purple. So now I'm going to type print cookie. Yeah, I'm going to print cookie. Okay, so now that I have the script print cookie, as you can see, parentheses around a string. Okay, so you want to click run, and let's see what happens in the output. It should display cookie inside of the output. As you can see, it just printed cookie. So that is how you print something. So I'm going to teach you another way of doing print. So here's how. You can also do prints like this without the parentheses. So let's click play. Let's see. As you can see, it also printed cookie. So there's another way of you printing the string. So now, let's say we wanted to print 10 plus 3, which would obviously equal 13. So let's put our parentheses, and we type 10 plus 3. And let's click play. Now let's wait for this. As you can see, it just printed 13. Now, take note that if you're using this as a calculator and accidentally put your little quotes around this, it will actually print the letters 10 plus 3. So let's see what occurs. Now, as you can see, it actually printed 10 plus 3 instead of the actual equation. Well, the answer. Sorry about that. So now, let's delete this. Now, I want to teach you about how to actually remove something. Let's say we have a part in workspace. So let's actually go to workspace and let's find parts inside of advanced objects. Oops. Alright, let's find part. Okay, here's part. So I'm going to insert this into workspace. Now, basically what we're going to be using is something called parent, and we're going to use remove. So first what you do is game. Game basically holds everything. That is like your place. So that holds everything that you see and explore. So game, now we want to connect to workspace. So you type dot workspace. Now, once you have that, you want to find what you're about to connect to. So as you can see, it's workspace, and part is inside of workspace. That is called a child because part is inside of workspace, so therefore part is a child of workspace, and workspace is the parent. So let's put parts. Now, to remove something, basically what you do is add a colon, and then you type remove, lowercase, and then you type 2 parentheses. This will remove the part inside of workspace. So let's click play and see what happens. Alright, as you can see, there is no parts because we just ran the script that deleted it. So let's say we wanted to use destroy. Destroy is another method of doing something. So I'll use destroy. Basically what remove does, it sets its parent to nil which means there is no parent, period. Like, the parent of game is nil, because game has no parent, basically. So, that's basically what remove does. It sets its parent to nil. So what we'll be using now is destroy. Destroy will actually destroy the part from the whole place. There will be no instance of it. There is no recovery or anything whatsoever. So let's click play and see what happens. As you can see, there is no part. So that is another way of taking something out of your place. So let's click stop. Let's say you wanted to wait a certain amount of time to destroy a part. So what you do is type wait, all lowercase letters, just like print. And then you put your two parentheses, and inside of it, you put how many seconds you want it to wait. So let's say we wanted to wait 4 seconds after the server begins to delete the part. So I'll put wait 4. Remember, the 4 has to be inside of parentheses. And let's click play. Now, as you can see, the part is here, but let's wait 4 seconds. Now, as you can see, the part has just removed itself. Well, actually destroy, sorry about that. It has just destroyed itself. So let's click stop. Now, let's say you wanted a notification of when you actually destroyed a part. Let's say you wanted to print something like, let's say print, your two quotes, and let's say part was destroyed. Let's put that under there so we can make sure it's actually destroyed. Because if the part wasn't destroyed, then print wouldn't appear. So therefore you would know that the script is not working. So let's click play. Let's wait for it. Keep your eye on output and on the part. As you can see, it says part was destroyed. So that is a way that you can print and destroy a part in one script. So next what I want to do is teach you another way of removing. So let's say we wanted to do part. You type part. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry about that. You type game.workspace.part. Now, another way of removing is actually parenting it yourself. So you type part.parent. That means we're basically putting the part in another location. So part.parent equals nil. We'll type nil because that basically has no parent. So let's click play, see what happens. Alright, as you can see, there is no part because the part is set to nil. So now, let's move on by pressing stop. Alright, so let's say we wanted to put the part inside of the script. We type game.workspace.part.parent equals game.workspace.script, because script is inside of workspace and workspace is inside of game. So let's click play. Let's wait for this. Alright, as you can see, part is inside of script, so that means part is a child of script, and script is a child of workspace, and again, workspace is a child of game. So let's click stop. Now let's open up our script, and let's say we wanted to insert our own part. So I'm going to delete the part I already have, and let's say we wanted to insert a part. So what I'm going to do is type instance, because instance is basically like an instant insert. So we'll type instance.new. That's how I remember it, at least. So instance.new, and then your parentheses. And just like print, we're going to add quotes to this and your parentheses. So instance.new part. I'm going to insert a part. So you can insert any of these things in advanced objects that you see. Like you can insert a fire or anything like that. So instance.new part. Now, this part will be nil, so you won't be able to see it unless you add a parent, basically a location for the part. So what you'll do is add a comma after your quotes, and then you'll type your parent. So game.workspace. This means I'm going to instantly create a part and put it in game.workspace. So let's click play. Wait for it. Now I'm going to open up workspace. As you can see, there is a part. Let's find it. Now the part is right here, center with the place. Its coordinates should be 0. Well, actually, no, it's not. Oh yeah, because gravity pulled it down. So, anyways, here's another way of doing it. This is called a variable. So what you'll do is, first I want to delete the parents of everything right now. So what I'll use as my variable is egg. You can name your variable almost anything, make sure it's appropriate and everything like that. So let's move on. So egg dot parent equals game dot workspace, like so. Good so far? Alright, let's click play. Basically egg is like a holder for the part that you just inserted. So this part has been inserted into workspace. So let me explain variables to you. Okay, egg basically is the part that we're inserting, because egg is like it's like, I'm not sure really how to explain that, but you should get the point of it. So egg means egg, well, part. So let's type egg dot parent equals game dot workspace. That means part dot parent equals game dot workspace. So let's move on. Let's go a little further with this. So let's actually insert a part into Studio right now and look at its properties. So let's insert our part. Click this and let's move down. As you can see, there's anchored, archivable, can collide, and locked. What we're going to be doing is toggling with the anchored property. Basically, if there is a check mark, like if you're able to check it, that means it is a bool value. B-O-O-L, bool. So that's basically what that is. And if it is like a number, that means it is a number value. And if it's a text such as like name, that means it is a string value. So let's open up our script. We're going to be toggling with the anchor. With the anchor property. So that is basically a bool value. So we'll type egg dot anchored equals true, because we want it to be anchored. If it's not anchored, that means it will fall. So let's click play. Wait for it. Alright, as you can see, the part has been inserted into workspace. I'm going to move this up a little more. Alright, wait a minute. I'm not sure why that was not anchored. Oops, wrong part. Wow, it actually worked. I just have a part in workspace already. Forgot about that. So let me find the part that was already here. Nope, that's the new part. Okay, here's the part that was already here. I'm going to delete that. Alright, let's find the one that is anchored. So this is the part that we just anchored with our egg variable. So as you can see, it floats. Let's say we unanchor it. So let's see what happens when we do that. As you can see, it falls. That means gravity pulls it down, of course. So let's move on. Sorry about that slight problem. Okay, so let's say we wanted to rename the part. We type egg.name equals, let's say I wanted to name it piece. So piece is going to be the name of part instead of part. So let's click play. Remember, that is a string value because it is using purple text, of course. Alright, let's click this part. Oh, that's already was in there. That was already in there. Okay, so piece has been renamed from part to piece. So let's click stop. I'm going to delete this part that we already had. It's causing a big problem. So now, let's say we wanted to actually change the transparency of it. We type egg.transparency equals whatever you want it to be. I'll use 0.5. You can also use 0.5 like so, but I'm going to keep it at 0.5 so you remember. Now, let's click play and see what happens. Transparency is basically like a window technique. It means that you can see through something, as you can see like that. So I'll bring this up a little bit so you can see it more clearly. Okay, as you can see, you're actually able to see through the part. You can see the sun over there in the sky. So let's click stop. Now let's give it a scenario where I didn't want to keep the part. Let's say I wanted to delete it after 5 seconds. So I type wait 5 egg remove, because egg is the part. It's another way of saying game.workspace.parts. So egg remove. So let's click play. Wait for it. Alright, so now, as you can see, the part is transparent. Its name is piece, but it has deleted itself after 5 seconds. So now, let's actually learn how to insert a part into a part. So I'll get my text back. So make sure that is inside of there. So let's say I wanted to use another variable. My other variable would be fire. So fire equals instance.new fire. Fire is a valid advanced object. As you can see, it is right here where my mouse is. Also, you can actually do this game.workspace. You can also use this with a variable. So that is another way of doing it with a variable, basically. So let's type fire. Well, actually, we don't need fire to have a parent. So instead of typing game.workspace, we're going to be putting this fire inside of game.workspace.part. But instead of using that, we're going to actually type egg, since egg means game.workspace.part. So let's click play. Alright, let's wait for it. As you can see, a fire has just went inside of the part. To prove that it's inside of the part and nowhere else, it moves up with the fire. It moves around with the fire, right? Okay, good. So let's click stop. Now, let's learn how to kick a player. So let's say the player's name is player. Well, that's how it is in Studio either way. So what we do, we want to add a wait for the game to actually load. So we type game.players, because player will be a member of players. It will be a child of players. So game.players.player, because player is going to be the name, of course. And then we type kick. That is just like destroy or remove, but instead we're using kick because we want to kick the player. So what kick would do if it's actually running in a normal server, we type oh wow, as you can see, it just kicked me. But if we're in a normal server, it would say this game is shut down. But if you remove them or destroy them, so let's say I wanted to use destroy, got my capital D, so let's wait for that. If you destroy them, you would actually be able to see the leaderboard and everything still if you're actually in a valid server. But this is in Studio, so you can't. So now, I'm going to teach you guys how to actually run the code for as many times as you like. So what you want to do, let's say we wanted to do it forever. Let's say we wanted to run it as long as that server is running. So we type while true do. And then we'd have to add a wait, because like if you don't add a wait, your server will crash, because basically it's the same thing running over and over and it'll be too much data. So let's insert a part. So I'm going to insert a new part. So instance.new part game.workspace. You don't need a variable if you're using it and not planning on actually editing it. So let's add an end to that. If you see anything like while true do or while, you will need an end with this. So let's click play. Let's wait for this. Alright, as you can see, it is constantly inserting parts every single 0.1 seconds. So let's click stop before I accidentally end up crashing. So now, let's actually add a variable to this. So I'll say part. Part will be my variable of part. So I'm going to add a fire. So this will actually create a part with the new fire in it every single 0.1 seconds. So I'm going to add a fire. Fire equals instance.new fire game.workspace. Well, actually no, not game.workspace. Sorry about that. Alright, parts. Okay, now let's actually run this. It'll give it a cool effect. As you can see, it actually creates many parts of fire in it. That's how you could create an explosion, possibly. But anyways, look at that as it goes up. Lots of fire, lots of it. So let's click stop. Alright, so also I forgot to mention, material is also another property of parts. So let's actually change our material. So we type part.material equals, instead of typing something like this, that would be incorrect. You'd have to use a string like this. So part.material equals grass. So let's click play. Wait for it. As you can see, the material has changed to grass. So from smooth to grass. So let's click stop. But instead of actually running something for a long time, let's see what it would be like if we wanted to make our own base plates using a script. So what you want to do is, of course, type your variable, part equals instance.new game.workspace. Well, sorry about that. Instance.new part.parent equals game.workspace. Alright, and then what you want to do is make sure you anchor it, because else your base plate would fall. So part.anchored equals true. And then let's say I want to rename it. Part.name equals base plate. So I'll type part.name equals base plate. And let's change the material, of course. I want a nice material. So part.material equals grass. So here's how you would change the color of a part. You type part.brick color, capital B, capital C, everything else lowercase, brick color equals, and then this is kind of like an instance, but not really. So you'd also type brick color dot new. Basically what you're doing is telling the part that you're about to change its brick color by typing part.brick color. That'll tell it that you're doing a new brick color. But also, if you do brick color.new, that will tell it that it's being new. But part.brick color, that's basically like telling it you're just trying to find it. But anyways, let's add our parentheses. And instead of actually like typing nothing like this, we have to use a string. So let's say we wanted to use black. Well, actually, no, I don't want black. I want bright green. Forgot this is a base plate. We want a nice color. So part.brick color equals brick color.new bright green. With some colors, you need to make sure that the first word is capital and the second word is lowercase. So let's click play. Alright, so far so good. The part is anchored. Let's click it. As you can see, it's named base plate. Let's delete this other one when we actually open up a non-server place. So let's delete the base plate. Open up the script. And let's see. So I want to change the size of it. That was kind of small if it's a base plate, right? So parts dot size. So that's what we do. Equals vector3. Vector3 is kind of like brick color dot new, but we're typing vector3 dot new instead of brick color. So with vector3, since it's using numbers, this is a number value instead of a string value. So we have to type our numbers. So I'm going to use a 100 by 2 by 100. So let's click play. Basically, before we do that, size, of course you're editing the size. But vector3.new, I'm not sure why Roblox did this, but that is what you have to use if you're toggling a part's position or size. So vector3.new. So, wow, as you can see, this base plate is kind of bigger than what it was before. So, let's click stop. Also, it just came to my attention that when I used the kick script, I wasn't actually running it as a player. But anyways, it will work as a player if you're doing that. Sorry about that. So, let's say I want to change the part's position this time. So, let's make sure we add it like a check mark of where something is. So give me a sec. Let's actually add that base plate back. So as you notice, like when I ran the script, it kind of like went inside of the base plate kind of. So to prove that the part's position is actually changing, we're going to type parts dot position, kind of like size, equals vector3 dot new, and then you'd add what position you want it to be. I want it 0, 100, 0. Basically 100 is going up, so it will be floating in the air because it is anchored, so it won't fall. So I'll click play, and let's look up. The base plate is now floating. This would not work as a teleport system because that will actually remove your torso and kill you. It will kill you. So now, um, hmm, how else can we make our part look better or our base plate look better? Hmm, let's see. Let's say I wanted to like make it fall after a certain amount of time. So what I want to do is that like actually no, part.anchor equals false. So I'll add a wait. So 5 seconds after the part was created, it's gonna fall. It's kind of like a disaster game. You're on a part and then you fall into your death. So let's look at the part. Wait for it. Wait for it. Boom. The part has just fallen. So let's click stop. Alright. So what if we want this code to constantly run over and over and over? We'd add while true do and our end. There's already a wait in here, so we don't have to worry about that. Well, actually, we really do. So wait 5. So let's click play and wait for it. So look at the part. Wait for the part to fall. Boom. Wait 5 seconds. Another part is created. Wait 5 seconds. Boom. Wait 5 seconds. This is kind of funny just watching this and adding a sound effect to it. So wait for it. Boom. Okay, let's click stop. As you can see, it just ran over and over and over. Now let's say we wanted to like make it make the color change after it hits the ground. Well, after it's unanchored. So bright red. I want it to be red. For some reason, I want it to be the opposite color. So, well, actually blue is opposite, but whatever. So, boom. That means that is a bad base plate. Yep, that's bad. Bad base plate. Green falling. Wait for it. Boom. Bad base plate. No, it's bad. So, that is, this is actually kind of a big script for a beginner. So, okay, another way of doing a while to do instead of actually adding like your code in between and adding a wait, you can actually type wait instead of true. So wait for. So here's what I'm going to do. Alright, delete this 5 right here. I'm going to delete that. And instead of adding true, wait 5. So let's click play. This will also work, so let's watch it. Wait, where's the part? Wait, oh, there it goes. Also, it did wait 5 to create the part because yeah, that's at the beginning of the script. So the wait comes first. Have to wait 5, and then it'll start the script. So here we go. The part constantly occurs. So that is my tutorials for now. Thanks for watching. Give me some feedback if you think it was good or bad. I accept all commentary. And if you enjoyed this, please share it. Please share it with your friends and leave a thumbs up.